What up, folks, and welcome back to another episode of GGS2 Case 2. We're in the middle of talking to Gregson about what he found inside that loose floorboard just behind him on the right side. So we just talked about a newspaper article about a death row inmate, apparently. Don't know what that's about yet. But the next thing is a photo. Right, this is a photo. This is the photo. It looks fairly recent. This looks to have been taken in front of the boarding house.
The gentleman on the left. That's the landlord, Garrideb-sama, isn't it?
And that younger gentleman might be Garrideb-sama's son or something? No, but we have seen a picture of him somewhere. Yeah, you can have this photo if you want it. Really? That must mean you lot already know about this. This man's identity. Is that true? Well, who can say? Even if we did know, unfortunately tossing out information willy-nilly isn't a hobby of mine. Uh-huh. Yeah, we're having a conversation about what's in the floorboard. Let me just set one thing straight, Gregson. Hobbies are hobbies, and work is work. Don't think I'd tell you if you make it about work either. Huh, it didn't work. So I saw. Photo from under the floor. A photo found in Potensi-san's room. It shows the landlord Garrideb-san and a young man. But what's this photo doing in a place like this? Potensi-san isn't even in it. Photos themselves are hard to come by in the East End too. Maybe Mr. Garrideb was so happy to get his hands on one that he gave him a copy. A small tin box. This is a very significant looking tin box. Personally, I recommend opening that up right away. If there were something hidden inside, that would blow this case wide open. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. Yeah, I opened this thing up right away too. But it was empty. What the hell, Potensi? You're supposed to put something inside! Oh my god, Holmes.
So, before you said a single word, Naruhodō-sama, the mystery of the little box was solved.
Kinda leaves me feeling empty, too. An empty little box, huh? I wonder if it's really meaningless. Something must have been in that box. Oh no! The best scene ever in this game! Here it comes! This is entirely unnecessary, but I still appreciate it anyway, Takumi.
Oh, it's a cat! I believe her name was,
Come to think of it, I don't think Soseki-san told us what it was. Why don't we just call her Wagahai for now? I wonder when she managed to sneak in here. That's a cat for you, I guess. Oh my god, so cute.
Alright, Wagahai-sama, it's time for the dinner we brought you from the pet shop.
Help. Help! Look at her little ears! Now she's sleeping! Help!
There's something soothing about that.
I'm gonna die. I hope we can sue Soseki-san soon as well. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her stretching her paws! Then she goes back to sleep! Unnecessary! Cat! Oh! Look at her stretching! She's got a bow tie! And me! This was not in the script when I was streaming it! Oh, you've got very conceited sounding meow, huh, Wagahai?
I'm not sure whether it can be called conceited, but it's very cute. I could watch her forever and never get bored.
Same here! I can't imagine Wagahai would be very happy about being watched forever. Hey, there's a lot of new dialogue here all of a sudden. Oh, whoops. Sorry. Look, we'll just get to enjoy the cat again, alright? There's a lot of new dialogue. Interesting. Let's see. For some reason we're looking at this now. Again. Why are we looking at this again? Hikari, what are you doing? What have you given me? The name of the defense attorney is stitched in here. The owner of this armband is Asogi Kazuma. I wear his intentions around my right arm every day, but I never stop being aware of their weight. Oh.
Is that so?
Yeah, thanks to that, my right shoulder has been so stiff lately.
I'd say the fact that you doze off on the floor while reading is the more likely culprit.
I don't remember doing this, but some of this dialogue also sounds familiar. I'm not sure. So this is like, why? These scales. They're the mark of a defense attorney, right?
They symbolize measuring right and wrong fairly in all things. They're always depicted as balance, as a show of constant neutrality.
Recently, every time I see these scales, all I can think about is the one in the Supreme Court.
Well, that's true. That one certainly does have a very oppressive presence.
Plus, that giant scale is always tilted one way or the other. It's only neutral right at the beginning.
Perhaps it's a matter of national character? I'm afraid I'm not sure.
Sure, yeah, we'll go with that. Okay, we are done here. We're moving, apparently, to the detention center. Guess we're gonna go see Soseki. Oh, Soseki! Same day, unspecified time, to the detention center, holding cell 9.
Soseki-sama is back.
You're right. Hey, Soseki-san!
I am a cat.
What? What is doing the eyes? Huh?
I don't know any Soseki or homes or crime or courts, and I don't plan to find out. So yes, I'm nothing but a cat.
He's averting his eyes with intense determination.
It's less averting them and more closing them. What is that face, Soseki? So by the way, what's your name then?
I haven't got one yet.
Sounds like the specifics are to be determined.
Can you start by opening your eyes?
I'm not a cat.
He's back to reality.
What will become of me? No! Perhaps the likes of me never had a chance to begin with. Not with this cursed dead-end life of mine.
But I believe there was a glimmer of hope to be seen in today's trial.
That's true. I'd expect nothing less from you, substitute exchange student. However, the Grim Reaper is everywhere, in my lodging house and in the court. There, and even there.
He stared straight at my forehead at the end there. Anyway, would you mind sharing your thoughts with us?
Certainly.
Today's trial.
I don't believe there's ever been an event in my life that's left as deep an impression on me as today! Well, I suppose if I really think hard about it, I can come up with 2 or 3 others. But I turn a blind eye to those! Today's trial has been the most impressive thing that's ever happened to me, substitute exchange student Naruhodō.
Thank you. Scotland Yard should be running tests on the tea that was left at the crime scene.
There's absolutely nothing suspect about my tea. It's only natural that they wouldn't discover any poison there. I guarantee it!
Incidentally, did you two drink the tea together that night?
Of course we did! Drink tea while it's hot! We chugged that boiling tea, burning our throats in the process.
But nothing happened to either of you at that time. And after that, you started your Romeo and Juliet deathmatch, right? I'm sure the point of contention in tomorrow's trial will be how the poison was introduced into his system.
Potency.
Damn you, Potency! Does this mean you have some sort of grudge towards me?
Do you remember anything you might have done to provoke him to accuse you by name? Well, I mean, he did win that death match, but that seems kind of petty.
Lately, I've been so wrapped up in my literature and have been such a shut-in that it's amazing. I have absolutely no memory of any such event! But damn him, why didn't he tell me sooner?
Tell you what?
About the soap, of course. What else?
Right. It sounds like everyone is really stressed about money.
We certainly are, if that weren't the case. I wouldn't go out of my way to live in that cursed boarding house, leading a cursed life!
Oh yeah. You said the rent was cheap due to some sort of curse, didn't you?
That's right, my room in particular. The evil spirit of a certain death row inmate is gunning for my life even now!
Death row inmate? Oh boy.
In any case, substitute exchange student, next time you come to visit me, I request that you bring me an incredible amount of soap!
Could this inmate be this person mentioned in this newspaper article?
What's this? What's this? There's something in the air.
It's a newspaper clipping we found in Potency-san's room.
So he knew about it too.
Huh?
The death row inmate Selden, that very man, is the great evil spirit that haunts our lodging house!
What?
That guy stole the life of a young man, and now he's after the life of this mustachioed hunchback Japanese man!
Could you tell us more about that, Soseki-san? About that great evil spirit?
Great evil spirit. Death row inmate Selden.
I didn't know much about it myself until recently. The man called Selden was arrested a year ago. The hideout he lived in at the time was John Garrideb's lodging house.
Huh? The death row inmate lived in your lodging house? Oh god, no wonder the rent is so cheap.
To be more precise, he lived in the very room that I'm living in now.
Soseki, why? Look, I can't even feel bad for you for being cursed. You made the choice to live in this cursed house. You could have said no.
Oh my! A death row inmate in Soseki-sama's room!
After he got his execution verdict, he died of an illness in his cell 3 months ago. And that's when it started. That's when his curse took effect.
A curse? What sort of curse?
At the time of his sentencing, the next lodger had already moved into Selden's old room. It happened a few months after he died in prison. The next lodger was discovered to have died a mysterious death in his locked room.
It was locked? It's just like the situation this time. So that's the death row inmate's curse?
Yes, that's when it started.
Death row inmate's curse. So, how did that lodger pass away?
The cause of death was suffocation. When the body was discovered, apparently the room was full of gas fumes.
Gas fumes.
Well, I didn't find out about any of this until after I'd already signed the contract.
Of course.
The landlord, Mr. Garrideb, just casually mentioned it to me, and I started shaking like mad. If I hadn't already signed the contract, I might have been scared off. Early bird gets the worm!
I'm not sure that can be considered a worm. And now this curse is after you.
It certainly is. The first time I felt it was because of the vague sense that someone was watching me.
That's when you started having nightmares?
Nightmares that those who had died in that room were looming over me, choking me. And when the breathing difficulty causes my eyes to snap open, my previously comfortable room is like an icebox.
Like ice. But why would that be?
London's winters are frigid, you see. It's impossible to sleep without using a gas stove. Incidentally, once I'm asleep, my stove goes out at some point and my room fills with gas fumes.
That's insane. It's the same situation that killed the lodger who lived in that room before him. And then that night, Potensi-san collapsed of poisoning in his locked room. Sounds like the curse is putting it lightly. What on earth is going on at Garrideb-sama's lodging house?
How about we talk to the man himself at this point? This is very spooky. Let's go see him.
The same day, unspecified time, Laird or Garrideb's room. Oh, you're back, Garrideb-san.
Going out into town on this bad leg of mine is too much for an old man like me.
Were you at the courthouse?
Of course. The fate of my lodging house hinges on that trial.
I guess the place it's kind of gotten a name for itself as a cursed lodging house.
Well, it's caused a stir around London several times before. As a cursed lodging house.
Right. So he's aware of it.
What on earth is going on here? It's bothering me on multiple levels.
So that's true. Now that I think about it. 2 days ago, in the first incident Soseki-sama got wrapped up in, Garrideb-sama himself got summoned to court because he was involved.
Also, hello, Holmes. Have you been at Garrideb's place this whole time when we went to visit Soseki?
I stopped by the detention center on my way home from the courthouse.
Is that so?
So, What do you want with this cursed landlord?
Oh, Garrideb. Poor man. About the boarding house.
So, we've got a suspicious Oriental exchange student and a suspicious washed-up actor, eh? This boarding house has become quite the weirdo magnet lately. All thanks to these rumors about a curse.
You mean the death row inmate Selden?
Yes, so you know about it already, do you? After the death row inmate was caught, the boarder who lived in his room after him suffocated to death. Then 5 days ago, that woman died in front of the lodging house. And yesterday, that washed-up actor was killed. It'll be me next. I can't help worrying that's what'll happen, and I'm at the end of my rope.
Okay, but those two didn't die.
By the way, when you refer to the woman, do you mean Viridian-sama?
Viridian-san was stabbed in the back out in the walkway, and Potensi-san was slipped poison last night, but they're both alive and kicking right now.
And that damned death row inmate's curse is alive and kicking too.
Personally, I think you ought to be pleased about all this. Bath, toilet, fireplace, and spooky history. All included. Sounds like a luxury package to me. I'm not so sure about that.
Our rooms don't have attached baths, toilets, or fireplaces for starters.
So, you've been indirectly keeping watch over your lodgers, right? By watching the dancing of the gas flames.
Well, I suppose you could say that. Don't want anything to happen to them, after all.
Something did happen to them, though! Could you maybe shut up for a bit, Home-san? Oh my! Begging your pardon! Lodgers.
So, we've got a suspicious Oriental exchange student and a suspicious washed-up actor, see?
You don't have to keep repeating that.
Besides, Soseki-sama isn't suspicious.
Well, I think the important point here is that he's an odd bird. Well, apparently he did come and rent the empty room, right after the previous owner had died.
Yes, he showed up the very day that I approached the real estate office with my ad. I suppose I could say that that was the first time I'd seen someone who was so enthusiastic about the place's history.
I think it was less the history that he was enthusiastic about and more the cheapness of the rent.
Come to think of it, when did Potensi-sama come to this boarding house?
Oh, the washed-up actor? As I recall... Oh, right. It was 3 months ago. There's no mistaking it.
3 months? Really? 3 months ago, huh? That's surprisingly recent. Why are you so certain, Mr. Landlord?
Yes, well, that's because of that Selden bloke.
Selden? You mean the death row inmate? Selden and Potensi. What on earth could be their connection? Potensi's moving.
3 months ago, the death row inmate Selden died of an illness in his cell.
Yes, the very thing was written in the newspaper.
The washed-up actor appeared 3 days after all that.
What?
The events of that day left a deep impression on me.
That just goes to show what a small world this is. That's all, Master Garrideb. The one interested in renting out your second floor room is poor Potensi. Wait, he wanted he wanted Soseki's room?
Oh, I'm so sorry to have to tell you this, but that won't be possible. I already have a lodger living on the second floor. The room on the first floor is available, if you want.
Nothing is born from nothing. Would you care to say that once more?
Like I said, I can't give you the second floor. The first floor is available, though.
Very well. Let us make the contract.
Glad to hear it. I look forward to having you as a—
Potency dance! Excuse me? What? Just suddenly potency dance!
Judging by what I heard at the trial today, apparently he was a gas thief, though. He's about 3 months behind on his rent, too. He's what you'd call a trashy actor, see?
Garrideb, why haven't you kicked this guy out? It's been 3 months. Like, I don't know what your contract is saying, but like, 3 months is stretching it. I would say you'd probably be kicking them out by 2 months in if you haven't paid rent. That's quite an interesting story. Thank you, Mr. Landlord. Allow me to express a small word of thanks from me as well. Give me a robe and put on my crown. What the heck, Holmes? Where did that come from? Ah! Obviously, it's one of Mr. Shakespeare's famous lines. I just thought it would be a good time to show how wonderfully cultured I was. Oh my god, what was that animation, though? Next time, why don't you pick a line that makes a little more sense? Okay, we're not done yet. I'm sorry, but we're not done yet, Mr. Garrideb. There's another picture we want to present to you. Could you have a look at this photo for us, Mr. Garrideb? The young man in this photo, is he your son?
Oh, no. He was a boarder, Mr. Duncan Ross.
Duncan Ross?
There just happened to be a street photographer passing through, so we had him take a picture.
So this boarder, is he the one who used to live in Soseki-sama's room?
Yes, he was.
So the one who died a strange death in a room in this lodging house was him. And then Mr. Mustache appeared as though he'd been waiting for his death.
Yes, Mr. Ross lived there before the Japanese man came.
You don't mind, could you tell us more about him? The boarder's death.
Duncan Ross was a hard-working student who was supporting himself through art school. After the death row inmate was arrested a year ago, he lived in the empty room on the second floor. That hard-working student was looking for a room with a history, so hard his eyes went shot blood.
I think you mean they were bloodshot.
Then, it happened one morning a month ago. I hadn't yet formed the habit of checking on my lodgers using the lamp flames, so I was a bit late discovering the incident, but I noticed the smell of gas fumes.
And that turned out to be the scent of death.
So I called the police, we broke down the door, and when we got inside, we unintentionally fell to our knees and collapsed on the scene.
Because of the gas?
Yes, the room was full of gas fumes. Apparently, while he was sleeping, the flame in his gas stove went out. Duncan Ross had suffocated. It's true that the gas pipes were old. The police scolded me for it. Replacing all the gas pipes in the house was quite an ordeal.
But Soseki-san rented the room after the renovation, and he said this. The flame in my gas stove went out while I was sleeping.
What happened after that was the death row inmate's curse. I can't be blamed for that.
There he goes again.
Oh, that's right. I'd forgotten.
Forgotten what?
The night before Duncan Ross died. Apparently, he'd written a love letter.
Did you say a love letter?
Let's see. Where did I put that? Ah, here it is. This was spread out on his desk.
Pardon me for a moment. Let's see. What do we have here? To my incredibly cute and lovely darling.
I'm not sure how to feel about you just reading someone else's love letter.
That's why I excuse myself first by saying, pardon me, Miss Susato.
That's not the issue here.
Unfortunately, there was no recipient address written. And that's why I still have it here.
I see. I'm kind of curious who he was writing to. However, the one Duncan Ross-sama had feelings for has nothing to do with this case.
Are you sure?
So I don't believe we need to investigate that.
Are you positively sure, Susato?
Well, I guess you have a point.
It's true, there's no recipient address written here, but there's the name of my darling written here.
Like I said, Home-sama, reading someone's private letter is...
With the burning embers of my love, to you, my Viridian Green.
Huh?
You were saying, Susato?
Did you say Viridian Green? The first victim, who 5 days ago was stabbed in the back out on the walkway in front of his boarding house. Fell into a coma and finally regained consciousness yesterday. And now her name is coming up here. Is it a coincidence? Naruhodō-sama, what does this mean?
This is precisely why I can't stop reading other people's letters. Oh my god, Holmes. Well, I think I know what we need to do. Or it's going to move it for us. No, we're not moving yet. Okay, we're gonna stop here for now. I'm sorry, you might have heard the jingling of my dog's collar. Not bad. But we will go see Viridian and find out what the situation is in the next video. I'll see you guys then.